So Tupac was, he is living the life, getting all the treatment. He made it big. Now Tupac died September 7th, 1996. I will put died in quotes because uh, there are some very bizarre things about this. And I do have some questions, and I will address
You
the.
did say that you don't have a tinfoil hat on, so
No, I don't. But
what is
again,
the died in quotes?
but what I said was that if I don't buy the story, I'm going to zoom in on those things that don't make sense.
Right, right. Like your antenna starts rising. Like, there's something up about that.
Yeah,
I get you.
like if
I get you.
someone says like, yeah, I just flew in from Florida, and then 10 minutes later they say, yeah, I drove because I've never flown in a plane. It's like, but you just said that you flew in here, so it's like, well, all right, well, what's going on here? You're not telling me the truth. So let's get to the bottom of this because what you're saying that doesn't make any sense. So he was watching a Mike Tyson boxing match with Suge Knight at the MGM Grand. Afterwards, someone spotted a guy named Orlando Baby Lane Anderson, who was a Southside Compton Crip, who the individual accused of having recently tried to steal the neck chain of Tupac, which was a death row medallion. He tried to steal it in a shopping mall. So this guy, uh, someone spotted him.
It was the bodyguard. What I had heard is the bodyguard, as they're walking out of the MGM, mentioned to Tupac, like, "Hey, that guy right there, like robbed me the other day." So the bodyguard said that, and then I guess Tupac confronted the man,
Yeah, and then they gave him a pretty
and
savage
Tupac,
beating.
yeah, got him to the ground, beat him up, and then
Yeah,
security was called, broke it
yeah.
up. I think
This was
there's,
caught on camera. This was
yeah, I was
all
gonna
caught
say
on
it's on
camera.
camera.
Yeah. So, and after that, Tupac he got in the car with Suge Knight. So
Yep.
11 at a
And
uh,
Tupac's in the front, the right front.
yeah,
Suge Knight is driving.
and just past 11, a Cadillac sedan pulls up to the passenger side and just fires into the car. Tupac's hit 4 times. Suge Knight is not hit at all.
He is injured, but it could have been from like some fragments. But he was
He's not
apparently
shot.
in. He's
He's
not
not
shot.
shot.
Correct.
Nope.
Correct.
Yes. And that's the
And it
thing.
was, yeah.
He was injured but not shot. But they were stopped. So what did he get? What did he get hurt from? Because here's the
Well,
thing,
he
like,
got he did eventually run his car into a pole because he got into a little bit of a police pursuit after the shooting. He didn't immediately
that
like drive to the hospital, which
that
is
is, yeah, then that's unrelated. He's injured
okay.
unrelated to the shooting.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
so he wasn't hit at all.
Yeah.
And it's very unlikely that someone that just pulls up for well, this is like a drive-by type deal, which drive-bys were very popular in the 90s, and they're making a comeback these days. It's very, very rare that they only hit their target. Almost always they hit everything around their target.
Right. And it's funny in the Furman thing, he's really trying to discount that. He says it's been described as a very well planned out tactical, almost military assassination. And to him, saying, oh, it was not. It was a drive-by shooting. Gang members have always been doing pull up alongside another car and shoot. There's nothing tactical about this. If nothing, it was not tactical whatsoever. It was actually rather careless. So
It was
that's Mark
impulsive.
Furman's take.
Yeah. So it seems like this guy, Orlando Baby Lane Anderson. So this was a South Side Compton Crip. Now, to me, this is the thing that stands out the most. Is this was a Crip. Do you know who else was a member of the Crips?
Biggie?
I don't believe so. Maybe was
Okay.
he?
I thought he aligned with them.
Okay, maybe he did. No, Snoop Dogg.
Hmm. Oh, really?
Yes, Snoop Dogg, who had recorded with Tupac, two of America's most wanted.
Right.
Snoop Dogg was also on Death Row Records, and
Hmm.
the way these gangs work is there's a boss. Like you're not just in the gang and then just now you're a member. Now go do whatever the heck you want. No, there is some kind of order, and there are rules. Like don't try to steal the medallion uh, from Tupac, because at the time Snoop Dogg is probably on friendly terms with these people, because this is Death Row Records. That this isn't like this is pre Tupac cooking with Martha Stewart.
Right. And it's Suge Knight was the former bodyguard for Dr. Dre. So they had known each other for a while.
Right. But well,
And
I'm sticking to this Baby Lane Anderson guy.
oh yeah.
So
Okay.
this guy, he just one day he tried to steal Tupac's Death Row Records medallion in a shopping mall. And then he just shows up to the MGM lobby. Like this guy, he's Southside Compton Crip. So this guy is from Los Angeles, California, basically.
Okay, so you didn't just happen to be in Vegas, because the idea is that it's whoever was in Vegas at the time is who was gonna do the murder if it was gang affiliated. That's the
Right.
idea. So you're saying it was targeted, that this guy went out of his way to follow Tupac.
Well, that's that is what is presented. That is the evidence that is presented. That is the story, the narrative, whatever you want to call it. That is what's
Right.
presented to us. Is this guy this guy from Los Angeles tried to steal Tupac's medallion in a mall,
Hmm.
and then he's just in the hotel lobby at the MGM when Tupac is with Suge Knight, and he's there to get a beat down. So this leads you to believe that this is like a revenge shooting. Like
Okay.
that's the conclusion it looks like they're trying to lead us to. Is this guy, and again, like this is where I say, like, I don't know, like maybe I got a some kind of tinfoil thing on. I'm not sure if it's a hat or if it's like a beret or something, or like a visor, maybe, like it's like part of a hat. Where whatever the truth is, this is kind of like the John F. Kennedy assassination. Whatever the truth is, it's not what the official story is.
That's a good
Because
way of putting it.
yeah, what it looks like they're trying to to lay out is some guy tried to rob Tupac, and then Tupac got his revenge against him, so he just killed Tupac. But here's what happened: this guy tried to rob Tupac, and then he's conveniently at the hotel that Tupac is at to get beaten up on camera by multiple people. But luckily, he's covering his face, so he does not get seriously injured. So he gets in a Cadillac and shoots Tupac and conveniently misses Suge Knight.
I don't think he would have enough time to even do that.
Well, I don't see a time listed
'Cause I
for
think
when they were in the lobby. I'm sure you can find out when this fight started. Bruce Seldon versus Mike Tyson. Um,
and you
I
don't
don't.
have cell phones really prevalent at this time, so you
No,
can't go,
dude, no.
okay,
Like they had a
I
cell
got beat
phone.
up. What?
I said, yeah, they had cell phones, but there's no smartphones.
Right, right.
Okay, yeah, and I'm just trying to find what time it was. Um, I I don't have the time. I'm sure that you can find the time. I don't know. I haven't looked too much into it, but there 11 p.m. is when stopped by a bike cop
Mm.
because they don't have license plates on their car. And 11:15 is when Tupac gets shot. So, how much later did this occur? And he just got in and he got his beat down. So I'm putting my tinfoil detective's hat on. So after he gets beaten, he is able to tail Tupac. That to me is like when you say he doesn't have enough time. Well, how does he have the time and the intellect to recover from a savage beating and then tail someone who's part of an entourage? It looks like, because it
Hmm.
says that they're part of a larger convoy. And the point of these convoys, it seems to be, for kind of like a protection type deal. And this guy was able to just pull alongside the one guy and then just shoot him. Have you ever driven in Las Vegas?
It's pretty busy,
Yeah. Like you are bumper to bumper. So if you're able to get next
especially at
to,
11 o'clock. It's always packed. With
yeah,
action.
yeah. And he's able, this guy takes a beating and is
You can
able,
even get your car,
that too, yeah, he's able to get into his car.
or
Eh,
maybe someone picked him up. I guess because I
Well,
think there were like
but okay.
four others in the car or
Well,
something
well,
like
that's
that.
what you have
Wasn't
to
there?
assume. You have to assume
Yeah.
that someone was eyeing Tupac and Suge Knight and knew where he was going to be. But then why even send this guy to the hotel? Why not send someone that they don't recognize? Why not have this guy be the driver?
Yeah. Why would they recognize it? Or yeah,
Yeah, see this like doesn't this seem weird to you?
it's very weird. Yeah, like that's my point. That's why I keep asking questions. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, see, and this is the thing. So, and if you say this is a setup, how do you set this up in this place? Like if you're able to get to Tupac at the MGM and you're just some low level South Side Compton crip. Let's say it was set up by Jay-Z and Puff Daddy. Let's say that. But how were they able to orchestrate all of this?
They would just hire very experienced criminals
But
to do it.
this doesn't seem like an experienced criminal. This is just a street thug.
But they knew not to shoot Suge Knight or that it mattered, or maybe they
Well,
didn't
how?
have a view.
But they didn't even hit him. Like a rogue bullet didn't even hit Suge Knight.
No.
So they just fired 4 shots. They went 1, 2, 3, 4. When do people that do drive-bys only do 4 shots?
No, I don't know.
Yeah,
And it's
exactly.
usually there's
They
nothing.
empty the
Yeah, they empty.
magazine.
Yeah, I was gonna say they shoot all over the place.
Yeah, they empty the
Like
magazine.
yeah.
So we have there's two things that I will entertain. Tupac was not killed at all by this guy. Tupac, let's say he was killed by
Well, it's still unsolved, so technically,
yeah,
or is that the most likely? Is that what people think is a likely scenario? Is that guy killed Tupac or
yes.
the shooter? Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
And this
Okay.
guy died a few years later. This guy, Orlando Baby
In
Lane
99,
Anderson,
right?
98.
Oh, 98, yeah.
Yes. So here's the thing.
And what did he die from? Another
I think he was
shooting?
killed. I'm pretty sure he
Yeah.
was killed. I
I think
mean,
he's
he died in
murdered. Yeah.
2003. Yeah. Uh, he was shot during a gang related shootout in Compton. But the Compton Police Department filed an affidavit naming him as the primary suspect in the murder of Tupac. He denied involvement and was never charged. It's probably because the evidence against him was so flimsy. He was
Mm.
in the same city that Tupac was in. He did have means, motive, and opportunity, but but the place that he did it is what makes it so unlikely is he gets beaten and then he's able to because it sounds like they're trying to paint it as a crime of passion, where this was either a hired hit, and this is what I'm saying. The two things. He's a hired hit, and this was like very professionally done, and
Yeah,
they did
tactical.
everything that they could to cover their bases, and they made it look like it was a gang shooting, but it was just four shots, and the fourth shot hit him in the lung. They probably thought, okay, good, we got him in the chest. That's good, we can get out of here. But most drive-bys, it's just they call it spray and pray in the business. So it
Spray
looks
and
like
pray.
it was set up to be a gang hit, but it just looked like that. It's like in that Star Wars, the first Star Wars, episode 4, New Hope, when Luke is saying to Ben Kenobi, he's like, "Look, there's like the Sand people did it. Look, there's blah blah blah." And then Ben Kenobi says, "No, no, you're meant to think the Sand people did it. It was done by stormtroopers. Look at the tracks. That's the dead giveaway."
Oh,
Where
that's funny.
where to me it's like the dead giveaway is that there were only four shots and they didn't hit Suge Knight.
That's not a normal drive-by. That's a
No,
yeah.
no. And why is this low level gang member he's in the lobby? That's so stupid and that's so convenient. He knew where Tupac was going to be. It's not like Tupac's on Twitter in 1996 saying like, "Hey, everybody,
Just
gonna be
checked
at
in at the
yep,
lobby.
yeah, like how they used to do it." So this
Yeah,
guy,
exactly.
this guy had to know that Tupac was going
Mhm.
to be there.
And yeah, it was a popular fight. It was Mike Tyson in
Yeah, but this
his
guy just
heyday.
sure, and this guy had to know Tupac was going there, and so Tupac, the guy who allegedly was always in the studio, just working on
Uh,
music, recording songs. Well, this guy, he went all the way out to Las Vegas to the MGM Grand, hoping Tupac would be there so he could be recognized by Tupac's goons and get beaten up by Tupac and his goons. This is the okay, this was a popular fight. Okay, you know what was
you,
probably also popular? Um like Lollapalooza. Would
yeah.
you go there thinking Tupac might be at Lollapalooza? Do you know how many people are probably there in that arena? Do you know how hard it would be to just run into Tupac?
Yeah. And I'm also thinking like wouldn't Tupac and his people literally stop everything and just file a lawsuit right then and there against that? Like when you try to like assault a celebrity, usually it's a really show-stopping thing. Like it stops the world. Like
No, no, no.
if
Well,
like
they no. He of like a little while ago tried to rob him. They just said,
yeah.
"Hey, there's that guy that tried to rob you, Tupac."
Yeah. Well, I'm saying just fighting in general, you'd be like, all right, let's sort this out. Let's make
No,
sure that
no,
you
not
don't
these
think that
people. Not these people. No, no, these
they just
people.
handle it themselves.
Yeah, these people say, "Come record a song for $7,000," and then they shoot them. No, these guys don't do that. No, these types don't. But the more important aspect was that this guy was there. Like, is he trying to get it again? But like he was exactly where Tupac was to give a suspect. He was there to get a suspect that had means, motive, and opportunity. That is so convenient. This is some Lee Harvey Oswald crap. Like this is straight up a lone gunman in a book suppository. I know what I said.
Yeah, well, I heard it. And that's similar, very similar, not trying to change the topic, but the Notorious B.I.G. has some very, and that's the one I'm more familiar with too, because that involves the LAPD corruption cases and their involvement, and it very well could even be related to Tupac as well. The more you dig into it, you can't help but just kind of connecting the dots, and the mainstream story of this is very convenient. Having this guy have means motive, being in the same lobby as Tupac. I mean, how you couldn't do that if you tried. It just doesn't make sense.
Well, I'm gonna get to the. We'll wrap this up, and we'll have to save that for a
Yeah,
later
we
day.
will.
But this is where this is where the whole thing started, and rather than doing a whole episode on this, this is the crux of all of this. The theory that Tupac isn't dead, and this is what I genuinely believe. I do not believe Tupac died in 1996 for several reasons. Now, I came upon like a Angel Fire website back in like 2008 or 9 or something, a long time ago. And it pointed out all these things that didn't make any sense. So Tupac, he didn't die immediately, quote unquote. He got shot.
Took a few days.
He died 6 days later, and they cremated him the next day. They
Not
didn't
normal process.
They didn't. Yeah, they didn't even give him like
an autopsy.
Open. Well, who knows? Maybe they did give him an autopsy. They didn't even give him an open casket funeral.
Right.
Because he was shot in the lung. He wasn't. It's not like he got shotgun blast to the face and then there was just nothing left.
You leave the face alone,
right?
For your casino people.
Exactly. Yeah, but he's not Italian.
No.
But it's not like his face was ruined, so there's no reason to not have an open casket funeral, because this is not only a huge star, just like a world-renowned superstar. He had a bunch of family that was still alive. His mom and dad were both still alive. But instead of giving this guy the respect he deserved, they just burned everything. They burned it all down the day after he died.
That's what he wanted.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly what he wanted.
Yes.
So the best article that I could find on all these things that I don't have all of it, and a lot of it is off the top of my head, and some of the weird stuff. Like one thing it was like the numerology thing. It's like he died at this.
They always do that. They do like Hugh Hefner and stuff too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's stuff.
69.
Yeah, like and I don't buy that stuff.
Yeah.
But there are and that stuff. It seems to exist to me to make you think it was put together by crazy people. So you just go, okay, so this person's crazy, so he must actually
discount
be dead.
Everything else.
Yep. So, this is what I think happened. I think Tupac thought he was just going to be like a political guy, and he was just going to do the standard like left-wing Hollywood type stuff. And then he got in with Suge Knight that said, "Hey, I'll just bail you out." And then he bailed him out, and he said, "Yeah, well, now you're going to do something for me." He's like, "What do I do?" He's like, "You just do this." And he's like, "Oh, I can do that. I'm performing. I was in the movie Juice. I was in the movie Gridlock. I can act." And I think he got in over his head. Now, this is just an assertion. This is completely my own take. I think he became an informant, and I think that this was an elaborate ruse to put him into witness protection to fake his own death. And you could say, what's the benefit of that? Well, there is no real benefit of that, but he kept making music after he died. So clearly he is still a hot commodity, even in death. Now, it's not like, because his last album that came out, The Don Killuminati, it's very possible that was recorded and then he died and then it was released afterwards. I can buy that. But there were 5 other records. And
that's a lot.
And that's not counting the one that was a greatest hits. So after he died, there was the Dawn Illuminati, the 7-day theory. After that, Are You Still Down? In parentheses, Remember Me. I believe that's the greatest hits. But after that, Until the End of Time. After that, Better Days. After that, Loyal to the Game. After that, Pac's Life. That is 5 albums after he died. Now, one of them I will buy that it could have been actually he died, he put it out, but not 5. That's BS because it's not a bunch of compilations and box sets and maybe some B-sides, which I guess would also fall into compilations. But anyway, he's still putting stuff out. So there's a reason to fake his death because one, it makes him a martyr, makes him a legend, and two, no one goes looking for him while he's doing that. Now, I found this article from what is called the OSU.edu, which is Ohio State University, the Psychology of Extraordinary Beliefs, and this is kind of like a I don't know, I don't want to call it tongue in cheek, maybe it's snarky, kind of commenting on like Tupac's dead, and this is why people think that he's alive. Now, I don't want to read this whole article. I can put it in the show notes. OSU.edu. Tupac isn't dead! Exclamation! Exclamation! And this article was written April 11th, 2019. Now that is important for a few reasons. So this article goes into one of the theories why he's still alive is because he had the Machiavelli Casanova theory, stating Tupac faked his own death because he was inspired by the philosopher Niccolo Machiavelli, who favored the notion of faking one's death to gain advantage over his or her enemies. It is really hard to fake your own death, and it's even harder to fake your own death and then put out product. So Tupac,
under the same name.
Under the same name, yes.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that they say, because an anagram for his stage name Machiavelli is Am Alive K. Now that makes them think that the K stands for Casanova the Dawn, who people say sounds like Tupac vocally. And he released a song called Mystery that with lyrics that allude to Tupac faking his own death. Now, see, that's like really stretchy stuff. Like his name is an anagram for Am Alive K.
Yeah.
This is the crazy thing. And so now here's another theory, but this one's a little more I wonder about that one, is that he's still alive in Malaysia or Cuba. Now, there are photos of him partying with Rihanna. Now, the thing is, at this day and age, you can Photoshop anything.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's
and the AI or whatever. But yeah.
Yeah, well, this was 2019. This was 4 years ago.
Okay.
So this is based on probably photos that were within the last 15 years or so. Discounting 4 years before that. And Suge Knight said that he's probably on the beach smoking a Cuban cigar because it looked like he was getting healthier. And Tupac's godmother, Asada Shakur, sought asylum in Cuba. Now, I do remember hearing in the late 90s that Tupac was spotted in Cuba. Now, again, that could have also been started by people saying rumors, because people will say anything. Because there are people that still believe Elvis is alive. No, that guy died of a heart attack on the toilet because he had a terrible diet and he was addicted to drugs. There is a little more ambiguity with Tupac. Now, the one thing that really should make you go, that's weird, is the cremating this person the next day. When Ronald Reagan died, there were people that were lining up all day to pay respects to his body at the funeral.
And apparently people love, or you would think, they think Tupac's the greatest rapper of all time. I'm sure people have an obsession with him that would have to see his casket or to just be involved. It wasn't like the Kobe Bryant thing where you couldn't
where
do
there
that.
is no body. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
He was just shot. He was shot in like the arm and the chest. That's it. That's no problem. You can put him in a suit, put a little makeup on his face, put a little rose in those cheeks, and then you have a bunch of people and to just pay their final respects to Pac. Much respect,
Yeah.
yo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's
But
interesting.
I also want to go back to they saw these images.
Uh-huh.
Just because you can Photoshop doesn't mean it is Photoshop, because I think that goes in line with, oh, come on, you can Photoshop anything, you have to discount that. Well, that looks like the evidence of evidence is not evidence. Like that, like
Yeah, but
layers of.
I'm pretty sure you can do forensics into each picture to figure out how it was either manipulated. I'm pretty sure that's how
Yes, you
know what I
can.
mean?
You can, but you can also have people come out and say, you can have
Well, you have
official
experts that
you
say,
can
"Oh,
have
no, you can have them corroborate anyway."
exactly, and you can have them corroborate both ways.
Yes,
You can
yes.
pay someone who's in on the con to
And the
say,
average person isn't gonna be able to,
well, they'll take
deal
their
with
word for it. They'll
Yeah,
just believe
exactly.
them. Why not? But
Yeah.
you were saying before I get to the
No,
next
I
thing.
do have, an interesting thing where I do know someone who was at the MGM hotel the night of the Tupac shooting, and the story goes is that everything that we were told was completely fabricated, and this person did mention that Tupac was an FBI informant, but I haven't been able to totally
See,
talk to this person yet, but
and
it
well,
was something.
that's interesting that you say that, because that is my assertion, and I've
Yeah.
never heard anyone else say that.
Yeah, and
Like
this
when I
person,
yeah,
yeah,
go ahead.
well, I was gonna say he was a professional gambler,
Degenerate.
very, very well, could have been. Yeah.
Well,
Anyways,
okay, so when he was professional gambler, you mean like Phil Hellmuth or something like that?
no, more in the sense of like the things they would do,
Like Russian roulette?
when
Like
no, like
his life is the song My Last Words?
oh, pretty much. But they would do like the NASCAR races. They would tap into the data of like who was running the race like fastest, like when they
Okay,
did like
so
the
he was
pre-trial
like
runs. So he'd get
Robert
an advantage.
De Niro in
Yeah, in Casino. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
okay.
It's more
Okay,
like
so
that.
like that. Okay, yeah. So he wasn't
Mhm.
just going like
Well, he was,
put it all on red.
like he's definitely had his kneecaps broken and stuff. Like this
Oh,
is
that's
someone
good.
who was definitely like what was it the NBA ref that Phil Donahue when he was like cheating and like rigging games the same day he was like man, I shouldn't be saying this, but he was like destroying his hardware and stuff from his computer, from
Well,
his hard drive.
you didn't say the guy's name, so just make
No,
sure you
okay,
don't say the guy's name.
no, I don't want to know his name.
No. No one needs to know this guy's
You've
name.
heard nothing.
No. Yeah.
Doing that talking thing again.
Yeah, so there are a few things that, like right here it says it was also said that much of the community knew the culprit behind the shooting was Orlando Anderson, who was murdered shortly after he killed Tupac. Yeah, but we don't. Okay, you can say that people know that, but again, this all goes to my theory of this is a con. Like this is no matter
Yeah.
what, this is there is a something really big going on here. This was not just a gangster shot him. Now with Notorious B.I.G., that's possibly the case as actual retaliation, but with Tupac, this was a West Side guy. It was the South Side Crips, allegedly, that killed him, where his feud was with the East Coast. It wasn't like this guy who was seen there was from the Brooklyn 99s, which is an offset of the New York Blood or something like that. No, it was a West Side guy. So freak accident is how Tupac died. Now, in the next paragraph, now it says another reason that people think that Tupac's dead is the killer has never officially been identified. Now, I've heard 50% of murders go unsolved in America.
And I would even say that, like, if you were a gangbanger or whatever, wouldn't you just say at a party, like, yeah, I killed Tupac?
Yes.
Like, every person is going to say that. Oh, I killed Biggie. You know, so like,
yeah.
So I don't think I answered your question. But
no, you didn't.
But
that's fine with like putting out where everyone said
Everyone's
that.
gonna say,
Well,
"Oh, yeah, I did
everyone.
it."
Well, like saying like everyone knows that Orlando Anderson did it because he probably went around saying it.
Right. Yeah,
They
why not?
probably that guy
I
was
got money.
Orlando Anderson was probably paid by someone, whether it's the
Yes.
FBI or Jay-Z and Puff Daddy,
Mhm.
to be there to get his ass beat on camera
Yes.
by Tupac and his crew, and then to go around saying, "I killed Tupac."
Yeah.
That
And I
was
think
why
it's
that guy was there. But go ahead.
I think it's interesting too. So I pulled up the 25 best-selling rappers of all time. And it's kind of interesting
24 of
because
them are Tupac.
the Tupac's at number 10 and Biggie is at number 16. And that doesn't seem like that big of a difference.
Well, he only
However,
had 2 records.
right, but
and nothing
Tupac
released after he died.
Well, that's part of it. And so Tupac has 75 million records sold and Biggie has only 28. But Eminem is the number 1. Isn't that funny?
Oh, that is very funny. I find that very funny.
And Jay-Z is number 5. Chris Brown is our buddy Chris Brown, number 4.
Which is
220 albums for Eminem.
I can name a bunch of Eminem songs. Like
Chris Brown, 140 million.
Like I can't name a Jay-Z song. Like a Big Papa for B.I.G., California Love, Eminem, Stan, Real Slim Shady.
Even like Snoop Dogg, Candy Shop.
My name is Candy Shop is 50 Cent. I do know that one.
Oh yeah,
Snoop Dogg. I know. Smile and rolling down the street.
Oh, I'm thinking of Candy Shop. Or did I say that?
You did say Candy Shop. It's 50 Cent.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll take you to the candy shop.
That's
50 Cent. Doesn't Snoop Dogg have a song like that though?
I don't know. Possibly. I only know rolling down the street, smoking endo, sipping on gin and juice, which I believe the song is called Gin and Juice. I know that one, and I know Smile.
Oh, what about DMX? He sold 74 million.
Okay, I know DMX. Rough Riders Anthem, and he did that one song. It's slip, fall, I can't get up. X gonna give it to you, and there's a really funny video. Everyone, look this up immediately. DMX singing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is one of the funniest things you'll ever see. It's so funny. But anyway, back to this, because this article, it goes into a reason that people think that Tupac is not dead is because the killer was never identified. But again, like I said, I believe 50% of murders go unsolved, and a lot of the time that's because there's no witnesses because they're dead. But yeah, 50% of murder, like, do you know how many drive-bys happen? And then just someone's dead. Oh, we don't know who did it. Yeah, that happens a lot. And they just find a body in the ditch, a bunch of bullet holes. Oh, they've been there for 2 days. We don't know what happened. We always hear gunshots. We just assumed it was another day in Chicago. Oh, someone got killed again. That just happens. And I've never heard anyone say, yeah, Tupac is alive. You know how I know? Because they never found the killer. There's a lot of people they didn't find the killer of. And then they're just like, yep, that person is dead, even though we don't know who the killer is.
No. And it's funny, before, 1996, Death Row Records was plagued with legal troubles and financial. And part of it was Suge Knight's confrontational management style. I like how they say it like that. This is from really like funny. Death Row Records. So this is like trying to they're putting a nice bad.
PR, nice PR
exactly.
spin on it.
So Suge Knight's confrontational management style and allegedly involvement in criminal activities led to numerous legal battles and arrests. The label's success began to wane in the late night. I don't need that, but it's just the point of like, there's no witnesses because they're getting intimidated. They're getting, and they don't want to be witnesses. Like, did you see that? It's like in that Pineapple Express movie. Oh, I didn't want to see them. No, well, but yeah, it's what I found interesting is there was this article in 1996, in December of 1996, that's talking about slain rap star Tupac Shakur sold more than $60 million worth of albums this year alone. Yet at the time of his death, the rapper owed his record company $4.9 million, Shakur's attorney says. So it just seems very odd that...
Why would you kill him and deny him to pay you back? So
yeah.
Yeah, so that also leads me to believe that Suge Knight didn't have him killed, if that were the case. But I'm gonna keep going
Oh yes,
with this
please do.
article because what another thing it brings up is that Suge Knight didn't get hit, even though Tupac did. That makes people think, okay, that's another reason. I also think that is very suspicious that he just wasn't hit at all.
You don't want to be in the line of fire though, but there is a price, I guess you could. I mean, kind of like, hey, for $1 million or like, oh, you just
You've seen Suge Knight before, right?
yes, he's a
Suge
big
Knight is a
dude.
very big guy.
Yeah, it'd be kind of
So
hard to miss. So he
so
would,
how they
yeah.
hit Tupac, because one hit him in the lung, which means they had to hit him from an angle. So that means that Suge Knight,
They were in the front. They're in front of him, huh?
yeah,
They
so
must have been. So they could have seen Suge Knight.
they were shooting at an angle, which means it's very likely that Suge Knight was going to be hit by those bullets. And again, this is not saying that therefore there were no bullets, but I'm just saying that is extremely suspicious. Now, the last part of this article that basically says that people are easily fooled by photoshopped images and weird conspiracy theory mumbo jumbo. But the bottom line is they believe all this stuff because they want Tupac to be alive. And I think that's true with a lot of people, especially with the Elvis people. They weren't ready for the king of rock and roll to die. Now, one thing that what did I not bring up that this article you could use as evidence for why Tupac's alive?
Are you asking me?
I'm asking you. Did you notice it? Because this was the first thing I noticed when I got to the end because I had to double check the date because
I
like
was going to say
okay,
that you had mentioned the date. And
the date it's April 19th. So what did they not bring up, which is the most glaring thing?
I'm not sure. I don't know where you're going with
All
this
the
one.
records that came out after he died. They didn't even say that as evidence because
Yeah.
I was looking for
Because
that
they've already
original.
had they had
I
a
was
bunch of
looking for
yeah.
the original article that I saw. It was not really an article. It was more just like a website dedicated to Tupac being alive. And I was looking for the original one. I couldn't find it. And all I could find was stuff like this. It was a bunch of gatekeeping garbage that was really meant. You look at it and you think like, wow, if you believe these conspiracy theories, you must be
Mhm.
stupid and crazy. But there are two things that stood out to me in this thing. It doesn't mention that Tupac put out a bunch of albums after he died. And the other thing is, this one is the weirdest thing to me. When I saw this, you probably forgot about this. When I saw this, my brain went, holy moly. I don't think, like how could you forget this? The Tupac hologram.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yeah, I've mentioned the Ronnie James Dio on the show before, but yeah, I do remember the Tupac hologram. So what about it? That were able to use his real life to make it real life or something?
What if it was just Tupac? Because like why like
That's
you have that technology and then they said it was too expensive to do. You know what you could do? You could have a tour of Nirvana. You could charge $300 for the nosebleed section. Everyone would go see the Kurt Cobain hologram. Everybody would. You pick any band where members are dead that died early. Blind Melon, uh, Lincoln Park.
well, they had trouble with the Ronnie James Dio one, but I think because they made it like into like a 20-foot or a 12-foot thing, and they couldn't store it, and it's hard to like bring on tour or whatever.
Well, yeah, the Tupac one was perfect. Did you? Gosh, there. Do you? I did see this one Star Wars movie, the Star Wars Rogue One. Did you see that movie?
I think so.
Do you remember there was the CG guy it was supposed to be the dude from the original Star Wars movie.
I'm trying to think. I remember there
It,
was something weird with that.
it was this terrible, like it was terrible CG. It
Well, they're
looked
doing that with the
awful.
new was it Raiders of the Lost Ark or Indiana Jones?
Well,
They're making him young.
but they've done the digital facelift before, where they just use computers to smooth out the wrinkles. But the actor was dead. It was the guy from the first Star Wars. He was dead, and then they just used a digital replacement, and it looked terrible. The Tupac one looked great, and
So
that
you
was
usually
in
know that it's like
2012. Yeah,
you usually know it's stupid looking or
yeah,
whatever.
yes.
Okay,
Like,
I get it.
yeah,
I
and
get it.
the Tupac one looked so good. And again, I'm not necessarily saying therefore Tupac's alive, but it's a one-off time. We see Tupac, and I think it was Coachella, which is probably the biggest,
It's the most expensive at least, but yeah, it's one of the biggest.
pop music festival in the world. And I'll double check because I saw it.
Yeah, I see something here. It says the strange legacy of Tupac's hologram lives on 5 years after its historic Coachella debut. So this is from April 14th, 2017.
Yes. And,
Interesting.
yes. And,
so it was in 2012.
yeah, Coachella, April 15th, 2012. Shakur's virtual appearance. Yeah. Yeah. And they never did that with anyone else. They just did it with Tupac, and it looked amazing. And they said, well, we can't do it again because it's too expensive. Well, it makes money. You could just have Tupac concert and have that Tupac hologram, and it would sell out worldwide. No one would be like, it's not Tupac, I'm not going. People are still seeing bands where they have no original members.
Yeah.
They'll
Megadeth or something.
No, like no original members.
Oh, no original.
Yeah. Like bands like The Germs or Dead Kennedys or something.
Oh yeah.
Like stuff like that.
I'm looking at Snoop Dogg in this picture with Tupac, and it looks like they're singing together. And yeah, there's nothing about it. To me, it looks real.
Yeah, that was the thing. Is everyone's like, look how great this hologram looks.
Yeah,
and that was in 2012. That's not like now where CG is pretty good. Where like that thing looked so amazing.
And there's shadows on him too.
That's even funnier.
Hang on. Type of I'm not Sherlock Holmes here, but I do.
Right? See, here's the thing. It's not necessarily the tinfoil hat is on, but it's this. You expect me to believe this when there's all these weird things around it, and this isn't like Abe Lincoln and Jack Kennedy. Here's the coincidences between the two. No, this is just like you gave me a narrative, and I just don't believe it. Your evidence is flimsy, and there seems to be a lot of things that contradict your story.
Yeah, this is bizarre.
Because if you look at Tupac, he's probably like this is 2012. He'd probably be 40 something, maybe 50. How when was Tupac born?
It's 1971.
1971. Okay, so he'd be 41. So he probably, if that was actually him,
and he could still look that good.
I was going to say, yeah, he could easily, still look that good.
If you're on a beach in Cuba, you could be,
yeah,
could be doing that.
And here's another.
And Coachella is in California.
Yeah, why not? Like, and you could say, well, how do you get that lighting and all that stuff on him that make him look weird? Well, if you look at it, he's not like directly lit. There are a lot of dark spots to it. It's a very weird presentation, but it's very possible that they did that, and then they just recorded it on a soundstage, and they just projected it in front of a screen. And what it is, it's not a hologram. It's just they recorded new HD footage of Tupac, added some filters over it, and then just projected that. That, to me, is far more plausible than some guy tried to steal Tupac's death row medallion runs into Tupac at the MGM, and then, as revenge for the beating that he gets, he just shoots him. And then they cremate him a day after he dies, 6 days later. Yeah, it is my assertion that Tupac is alive. I don't know where or why, but I do not think he died in Las Vegas in September 1996. As someone who has worked on music, it is very hard to write good songs and record good stuff. And this guy seemed pretty outgoing. He had a lot of friends. He was always partying. Sure, maybe he was recording a lot, but he was probably recording, like, he recorded a double album, All Eyes on Me. It was a double album, 27 songs. And it's not like the songs were like 45 seconds. So he was recording a lot, but then he kept recording after he died. And it's not like they used AI deep fakes to make Tupac songs, like, AI, make me a Tupac song. No, no, no. The last release was 2006. So it's not like the horrors of technology has created new Tupac records in the last 2 years. Like, this would have been way before AI tech, like voice deepfake technology.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah. So that's my assertion that Tupac was a guy that was going to be a star no matter what, and at a certain point, after being very, very much a political figure, so to speak, like, as much as Rage Against the Machine is,
Right.
he got
In the natural
involved.
trajectory.
Yeah, he got involved with some dangerous people, and something went wrong somewhere. And I think that he was an asset that they wanted to protect. And I think that he went into witness protection after he narked. That's what I think. And I think they faked his death.
Well, the one thing I wanted to push back a little bit on with, always being in the studio and pumping out all these songs, and that you're saying that you can't just bust out these quote unquote bangers, so to speak. But we have made the argument that rap songs are incredibly easy to make. However, we did say that it's more easy to make the music now with the technology.
But yeah, because remember, he was making these before he died in the 90s, right, where everything, almost certainly everything, was analog.
Okay.
So they would have to have all these tapes that were already mixed and mastered.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's the thing, you're familiar with rap. You know the term flow?
Yes.
Because if you look at a lot of these albums that he put out, he's not the only one rapping on them. So if you want to make the argument, like, he recorded this and then other people they put it in there. So they put his verses with his flow over other songs. That's not how that works. Like, I can't write a riff and then you write a vocal pattern, and then we just slap them together without either of us knowing what the other one did, and then there's our song. Yeah, so that's kind of the implication.
One or the other. Yeah. Okay.
And that's kind of the implication here. Yeah. So yeah, rap is easy to make because it's easy to make beats, and all it really takes is a keyboard, a drum machine, and there you go. But that stuff is so easy to get now. You get one program and it has all of it. But he was doing this in 1995. He recorded 5 albums before he died. In 1 year.
For every album he released, he recorded another album that he just had sitting, on the shelf, just shelved it.
Yeah, I don't buy it. I don't buy it.
2 albums per each album.
Yeah, and if you say, like, well, he recorded most of it, and then a lot of it was incomplete, and other people came in. Oh, no, it would
all sound like very similar too. Or I'm sure they sound different. There's 4 or 5 albums he released after he died.
Yeah. So
You know what I mean? It would sound like that argument of like AC/DC records or the Ramones, how their production sounds. Like, it would sound like the same in Tupac's regard if he did it all in the same year. That's a lot of songs.
Yeah, yeah, and
It'd be hard to have diversity in that, doing
you
it
would
all in 1 year.
you have to be really stupid to think that this guy who was connected with everybody, he was always schmoozing, and he was touring and recording with other people. He had the time to write and record all this other stuff.
And go see Mike Tyson and go party and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. Drop his gun for children to get killed.
Yes, yes. Don't forget about that one.
Yeah, act in movies. He was in Juice, Poetic Justice, Above the Rim, Bullet, Gridlock, and Gang Related. Yeah, so this guy, he had the guy that was doing everything had all the free time in the world, which, yep, I don't buy it. I think he's alive. I think they faked his death. The details around his death make no sense. And that is my story. I'm sticking to it.